Hey, Giant Builders. So today I want to share with you two of my favorite women in the Bible. And I want to tell you what I think they teach us about business. So let's find out who they are.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is the Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
All right, I want to ask you something before we get into today. How many of you have a woman in your life, a mother, a grandmother, a mentor, a friend, who believed in you before you believed in yourself? Raise your hand. Someone who poured into you without asking what they would get in return. All right, so hold that person in your mind because that is where we're starting today. So my name is Lois, and when I first found out that there is a woman named Lois in the Bible, a woman the Apostle Paul called out by name as someone whose faith was genuine, I have to be honest with you. I got a little emotional. It was like as somebody to really look up to me. Not because I think I am her, but because of what she did. And because of what the women in this room are doing right now. Whether you see it that way or not. Today I want to talk to you about two women from the scripture. Two women who, separated by hundreds of years in very different circumstances, made a decision that changed everything. They decided not to wait. So in 2 Timothy 1:5, it says, I am reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure dwells in you as well. So who is Lois? We know almost nothing about her. No chapter is dedicated to her story, no miracles recorded in her name. She gets one mention, 8 words in all of Scripture. A faith that dwelt first in your grandmother Lois. And yet Paul, writing to Timothy from prison cell, in what many scholars believe was one of his final letters before his death, called her out by name, not as a footnote, not as the origin post. Before Timothy became one of the most important figures in the early church, before he carried Paul's letters across the ancient world, before any of it, there was his grandmother. In an obscure city in what is now Turkey, faithfully planting something she would never fully see grow. Lois never stood on stage. She never led a church. She never wrote a book. She just decided in her own little home, in her daily life, that the faith she carried is worth passing on. And she passed it on so well that decades later, a man writing from a prison cell looked back and said, it started with her. 8 words, and they changed the world. So what does Lois teach us? She invested in someone else's future without knowing the return. That is not naive. That is the highest form of courage. She did not wait for a platform. She used the one she had, her home, her family, her daily presence. She was faithful in a season that felt invisible. No applause, no recognition, just quiet, consistent, intentional investment. The fruit of her faithfulness outlasted her life. That is not an accident. That is design. So who are you pouring into right now that you may never see the fruit? And are you doing it anyway? Let's put it in a modern parallel, right, in business. With the Lois principle, it looks like this. The content you create, the value you share, the reputation you build, the relationships you invest in, They are working even when you cannot see them. The seeds you plant today are the calls you receive next year. All right, now, second one. Another one that I really look up to, the Shunammite woman. Not mentioned by name, but a strong woman. She appears 3 times in Scripture. Each appearance, she is doing something remarkable. We first know that she pays attention and is hospitable, as she invited the prophet Elijah to her home for meals and then actually built a room for him on top of her house. Just a, just a room, just for him. So when he's in town, this is where he can stay. She was grateful for all that she had. When Elijah asked what he might do for her, she said she was home among her own people. She was satisfied. Elijah did bless her with the prophecy of a child, which brought much happiness to her home. But her son died. He fell ill in the fields while with his father, was carried to her by a servant, and died in her arms by noon. She laid him on the bed of the prophet Elijah in the room that she built for him. She told no one what happened. She didn't tell the servant. She didn't tell her husband. No one. She got on a saddle donkey and she rode hard for 15 miles through the hilly country to find Elijah. When Elijah's servant, Gehazi, ran to meet her and asked, "Is everything all right?" She said one word, "Shalom." It is well. Think about what that takes. Her son is dead. She's not told her husband. She has not wept publicly. She has not accepted the situation as final. She is moving. She is going to the source of what she needs, and she is not stopping until she gets there. When she reaches Elijah and falls at his feet, his servant tries to push her away. Women were not to talk or touch to a man of the status. But Elijah says, "Leave her. She is in bitter distress." He sees her. He sees her. Finally, someone sees her. She looks up at him. There's something extraordinary. She says, "Did I ask you for a son? Did I not say, 'Do not deceive me'? Why is this happening?" She is not asking whether her son can be raised. She is not asking for permission to believe. She is reminding the prophet of his own words. She is saying, "You promised me life. I'm here to collect." So what the Shunammite woman teaches us, her hospitality was not conditional. She gave generously, consistently, and without asking what she would receive. That is the foundation everything else is built on. She protected her peace in the middle of her pain. "It is well" was not denial. It was a decision. She moved toward the solution while the problem was still unresolved. She did not fold. She did not accept the situation as final. She laid her son on the prophet's bed and went to find the prophet. She walked past the servant and went straight to the source. She did not stop at Gehazi. She needed the one with the authority to answer her, and she went directly to him. That is not presumption. That is discernment. She had held on and would not be moved. When Gehazi tried to push her away, Elijah said, "Leave her." He saw her and went back with her and raised her son. She got exactly what she came for. So is there something in your life or your business that you have accepted as finished that you were actually supposed to go and fight for? What would the Shunammite woman do? So a modern parallel in business with the Shunammite woman, the Shunammite principle looks like this. The women who build consistently full pipelines are not the ones who wait to be discovered. They go and get found. They put themselves in places where the right people are looking. They show up before they feel ready. They do not wait for the perfect moment because the perfect moment is the one they create. So I have two women separated by hundreds of years, completely different circumstances. One was quiet and invisible, planting seeds in a home no one noticed. One was bold and urgent, riding 15 miles to refuse an outcome she would not accept. Both of them changed everything. I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it for a moment before you answer. Which of these women are you right now? Are you in a lowest season, quietly, faithfully planting seeds that feel invisible, investing in things you cannot see the fruit of yet? Or are you a Shunammite season? You know what you need, you know where to go, and the only thing between you and it is the decision to get on the donkey and ride. Because here is what I want you to know. Both of those women are honored, both of them mattered, and both of them refused to be passive about the lives they were called to. I wanted to tell you something a little bit about my own story because I lived in both of these seasons. My husband and I ran a photography studio in Indiana for years. We were at a point where we photographed 250 weddings a year. We were known as one of the best in the state, and I was constantly the one saying, something is changing, we need to move. When the websites first came out, I built a presentation, a full presentation to convince my husband we needed a website. He thought it was a fad. I knew it was the future. Not because I was smarter than anyone else, but because I have always believed that the women who show up first, who plant the seeds early, who ride towards the answer instead of waiting to be found, those are the women who change things. Lois invested in Timothy without knowing what would become. The Shunammite rode the 15 miles for something that most people would have accepted as lost. And I want to talk to you today about what that looks like in a world where the way your customers find you have changed completely again. I want to spend just a few minutes with you on something practical because I think these two women from Scripture had something very specific to say to us about where we are right now as women in business. The way customers find you has shifted again. And most business owners, most good, hardworking, talented women in business have not yet been told. 60% of all searches now happen through AI. ChatGPT, Siri, Alexa, Google's own AI. And AI does not give your customer a list of 10 businesses on the page like Google when you scroll through. It gets one, maybe three answers. If that answer is not you, the call goes to whoever showed up. Remember what made Lois extraordinary? She planted seeds she would never see harvested. She invested consistently, invisibly, and faithfully. Your online presence is exactly that. The content you create, the reviews you collect, the way your website is structured, the questions you answer for your customers before they call. That is you planting seeds in AI search. Seeds that work while you sleep. Seeds that bring someone to your door 6 months from now because you were faithful today. And remember what made the Shunammite woman extraordinary? She did not wait to be found. She went and got what she needed. She showed up in the right place at the right time, and she refused to leave without what she came for. That is what AI visibility is. It's your business getting on the donkey. It's your business showing up in the places where people who need you are already looking and being the name they find. When someone in your area asks AI who to call right now, that is a Shunammite moment. They need someone today. They're not researching, they are ready. The question is, are you the one that shows up? There are four things AI checks before it recommends in any business. Every one of them is fixable. All right, first one is consistency. Be who you say you are everywhere, always. Second one is website structure. Be clear about what you do, who you serve, and where. No confusion. The Shunammite woman was crystal clear about what she needed and where to get it. Third is trust signals. Let others speak for you. Reviews, responses, reputation. Lois's faithfulness was visible to others long before Paul wrote it down. And fourth is answers. Be the most helpful voice in your market. Answer the questions before they are asked. That is what a grandmother does. I want to leave you with this. Lois never knew that one day a man would sit in a prison cell and write her name down as the reason everything started. She just kept planting. The Shunammite woman did not know her story would be read by millions of women thousands of years later as a picture of what it looks like to refuse to accept the word impossible. She just got on that donkey. And you right now in your business, in your family, in whatever season you are in, you have the same choice they had. Plant the seeds, show up consistently, invest in what you cannot see. And when you know what you need, when you know the answer is out there, and you are the one who should be found, get on the donkey, go and get it. Do not wait to be found. Go and be findable. So if anything I shared today sparked something for you about your business, I offer a 30-minute conversation to help you understand where you need improvement. We look at where your business stands, what is your biggest opportunity, and what the next step looks like. No pressure, no pitch, just a conversation between two people who care about the same thing, helping good businesses serve the people who need them. So I will have that link below, and I invite you to have a free consultation with me, a free visibility search. Thank you for being here today. Go plant seeds. Go get on that donkey. I trust that the one who calls you to this is more than able to bring you in the harvest.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.